when it comes to Apple, we heard that Dan is optimistic, but what is the rest of the analyst and investment community watching for here?
So a lot of people, and I know Dan included, have been really interested and sort of surprised at the stock price's elevation since, Apple announcing its first year-over-year holiday quarter earnings fall in 18, 19 years. That was a huge deal. That was a huge negative, yet the stock is up so much since that point. The question really is why? People really seem, or investors and analysts seem really optimistic about Apple's future. And I think even though Apple's services event seemed to be pulled together a bunch of services they are planning to launch over the next 12 months and bring up the release date or the announcement date for one big services, splashy event, I think that worked in some respects. People seem to be optimistic about that.
Now, Dan, I want to drill down into China and what you see happening there, signals you're getting from the supply chain. Do you think, the slowness will continue and that's something Apple is just going to have to adapt to, or could it change?
Look, I think it's a new normal, right? But I mean, in terms of what fell off a cliff in December, we start to see a tick up this quarter, and it comes down to you have 60 to 70 million iPhones in China that are coming out for an upgrade over the next 12 months. And I think the price cuts are starting to help. We expect more price cuts, specifically on 10R over the next 3 months. And I think that could pull forward about 10 to 15 million iPhone units in China. And kind of what Mark's talking about, right here, it's all about an install-based story. Everyone knows iPhone's mature. It's install-based and it's monetizing it. That's why every iPhone they get in China is so key for services and other areas that they need to monetize over the next 3 to 4 years.
So, Mark, what about services? Of course, Tim Cook has been trying to pivot the company and also the messaging around the company, talking about just how big this business is and can be. We saw the streaming announcement this quarter, though there's still a lot of questions about how much that's actually going to contribute to the bottom line, even what they're going to charge for it. But what are you expecting when it comes to the services business?
So let me put it this way, and we've done the math on this recently. An iPhone, the average selling price is somewhere in the $700 to $800 range. The iPhone XS starts at about $1,000. But now Apple has these services that cost about $10 a month. You have Apple Music, you have Apple News Plus, you have the Apple TV Plus service coming up later in the year, you have Apple Arcade, you have iCloud storage, you have the percentage that they're going to get from transactions using the Apple Card, they have Apple Care. So let's say Apple can get the average customer to pay between $30 and $50 a month for services. If you do the math on that, that equates to between the ASP of an iPhone or $1,000 base price of an iPhone XS every 2 years. So even though the iPhone upgrade cycles are slowing, partly because people don't want to pay so much for phones, other reasons include because the phones are lasting longer because they're getting so good components-wise, they're still adding another recurring revenue cycle that's worth as much as an iPhone every 2 years. And I think some analysts and investors are seeing how lucrative that could become long-term for Apple.
So, Dan, what's your thought on the shares? Apple shares have come up from a low in December. In fact, we're seeing most of the big tech stocks rising back up this year. Will that continue?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I continue to think this is one that's going to continue to move higher. The services business, we think, is worth about $400 to $450 billion of revenue. I think it's going to be a ho-hum March quarter on Tuesday after the bell. They'll give a conservative guide for June, but the New York City cab driver knows that, and that's why fundamentally I think this is going to be one that marches higher into the September product cycle, and I think we could see new highs on Apple in the 6 to 9 months, specifically as you get more street cred for the services business and the install base.